Terrell, great to see you again. Great to work with you again under these bizarre circumstances, right?
They are bizarre.
They are bizarre. This is Terrell Woods, a fantastic beatboxer, hip-hop artist. We go way back with a lot of different projects. Mm-hmm. Thank you for agreeing to participate in this.
Thank you for having me, man. It was a blast.
Protest music through the centuries. Please tell me, of course, so much has happened, it's hard to summarize, especially here in Minneapolis. First the pandemic, then this tragic murder of George Floyd, and then our subsequent discussions about, where do we, the MacPhail community, fit into this context, and especially as performing artists. What do you think is your kind of duty or your opportunity as an artist to provide music for change?
It's my duty to present people with an alternative to some of the things they might partake in if they didn't have an outlet like music. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, like I've worked with a lot of people or done things with people, and they go, I just don't have that talent. And I feel like, yeah, you might not have this talent, but maybe this talent can help you find what your talent is. It can inspire you to find what your path of resistance or least resistance is. I love it when people who are not hip hop artists say you influence me. It's one of the biggest things that it really motivates me to keep going, and it motivates me to come even more creative and be even more rugged in my approach. I really feel like I'm at a time where I need to be unyielding. I need to go, because there's a lot of people out there who are experiencing things that get them down to the point that they can't get back up. They're like, I lost my job. Somebody in my family died of COVID. Our election, our political system is jacked up. I can't go anywhere. I don't have any money. And I'm like, listen to this music and find the strength within what I'm saying to, add to your own struggle and figure out how to get out of your struggle. So hustle the struggle, don't let the struggle hustle you. Look at the struggle and figure out what's in the struggle, or what's in the struggle that you can hustle in order to get what it is you need.
That's amazing to have that kind of very direct influence, and positive influence. Speaking of hustle the struggle, let's just talk about the repertoire. You are performing with your group called Salty.
Salty, yes.
Alongside Jacqueline Otan, cello, and Mike Michael, guitar.
Yes, yeah.
We just spoke about hustle the struggle, and talk about that song and the others, just briefly, so we have a bit of a context. Some of them are sort of semi-covers, some of it's original, and one of them is extremely pertinent right now.
Right. Hustle, like I said, is one of those songs that a lot of people are influenced by. It is the get up and go tune for a lot of people. People are down, they were like, man, when I can't figure out what I'm gonna do or how to get out of a situation, I throw on hustle. So that's what I feel my job is to do. Is I'm bringing this to people so that they can find their way within, a minutia of crap that they can't seem to find their way in. My performance will hopefully motivate somebody to find their best them. And with that song, it was a no-brainer that I needed to do that one. But thinking about mixing it with Killing in the Name of, the Rage song, and we know Rage is definitely anti-establishment. So that line, now you do what they told you. It's that rang really loud in my head every time we talked about doing hustle, which wasn't that many times because it was a very short amount of time. But when we were thinking about doing Rage songs, I didn't remember the name of that song. So I said, what is the one that's like, you do what they told you? And then Mike was like, it's killing in the name of, I was like, that one. We need to mix that, whatever that one is, let's mix that with hustle. And then they started playing the lines, and I was like, that's it. It just felt like a fit. So, you know, even saying, now you do what they told you, hustle the struggle, don't let the struggle hustle you, killing in the name of.
Right.
So I took all of that and kind of put it together.
And that's the cover by
Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's kind of a hodgepodge, but there's a very fitting piece in it too. Now you do what they told you, or are you really going to do what they told you, or are you going to hustle the struggle and not let the struggle hustle you? And if you are, then you're killing the lineage of anybody who's trying to get in your way, in your path of success. You're killing in the name of hustling the struggle and not letting the struggle hustle you. Get it how I put it all together. That's how it felt right to me.
Yeah.
If I was going to cover it, it needed to kind of flow like that. And I saved that whole sentence for the end because I thought it would really impact people with that. People who really like that song, once they hear the music for it, I think they'd be like, oh, I know that song, but then didn't. Now you do what they told you. It was just like, it had to happen that way. So yeah.
Let's talk about Election Day. That's an original song.
Yeah.
Very timely.
Very timely. And we've been working on that one actually for a while. And to be honest, we have never been able to get it quite right. Today was the closest that we've ever gotten it. Although one time in practice we did it and I was like, that's the best we ever did it. Let's just try to do that again. But it's very relevant, and it was not as relevant when we first came up with it, but we knew it was still fittable because we have an election year every 4 years, and the line that she played, it sounded kind of like some type of semi-celebration, you know. Now, hopefully it's a celebration in the name of getting something better than what we already have. So it's an election year, you know, there's kind of a pretty thing about that. But then at the beginning, we started with the national anthem, and it's all torn up.
Very foreboding.
Yes, it's all jacked up because the ideals that we feel like the ideals that we're supposed to uphold as Americans have kind of just went down the toilet, you know. And I've talked to people from different countries, and they're like, "You guys look really stupid right now," you know. So I was like, "Well, let's." You know, we actually were going to do the national anthem at the beginning with Rebel. But then we thought, no, we just need to come in real hard with Rebel and then attach. At the end, like we were in practice and we were getting ready to do that song. I was like, why don't we attach the national anthem to the end of, or to the beginning, or somewhere into the election year, and then it worked. And we like, that's it right there, you know. So
let's talk about the first song, Rebel.
What do you want to know about that one? That's the one, man.
That's also a compilation, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's mostly a cover. I didn't say any of my own words in that one, but it's a combination of two different songs. Rebel, without a pause, is my favorite song in hip hop. There's no song that I like more than that. There's songs I love a lot, but that is my favorite one. And I've always wanted to find a way to cover it. And I'm a big Chuck D fan, and Chuck D follows me on Twitter, so I was happy about that. And
that's awesome.
I've always said, you know what, one day I'm going to do Rebel and send it to him, and hopefully he'll play it on his radio show because he has a radio show. And I know his publicist, so maybe I might be able to get in there. But when you told us you wanted us to do this, the first song that came to my head was Rebel. I was like, Rebel, we got to rebel, change. Okay, yeah, let's fight the current system. And then I was like, wait a minute, fight the power too. So maybe I can put fight the power and Rebel together. And then it was their idea, Jacqueline and Mike, to add
That's why we gotta fight the power. Fight the power. We gotta fight the power.
then I'm mixing 3 songs together.
Yeah.
You know, and they switch the keys up a little bit so they can all kind of go together.
And the third one is By the Temptations, right?
Yep, The Temptations, yep. So yeah, it was just like, that one was a nice collage and very fitting because this world is very confusing right now. And we got to fight the current administration. We need a change. All of these different changes in the, you know, in the Breonna Taylor case and all that things are only getting done and seeing a different light of day, and we're seeing a little bit more progress because people keep on fighting. People are not stopping. We need change, and those songs really kind of fit the mold as far as like change. I think if we were only able to do one song, that one would have been the perfect one. Yep, that we could have did that one and got away with it.
Well, I'm incredibly glad that we can do more than one song.
Yeah, I'm glad too.
And thank you for being part of this. Thank you for sharing your tremendous passion and creativity.
Thank you
with us, and I can't wait to hear your performance.
Yeah,
now.
I can't wait to chop into it.
Terrell, thank you so much.
Thanks again, man.
Javier, thank you so much for joining us for this project, and you know, I think we're very fortunate to have you. We're very fortunate to be able to perform under these circumstances.
Absolutely.
We just spoke about this earlier. You selected 3 songs. You and Chris Rogers have selected 3 songs. Let's talk about the repertoire, the significance, what it means to you, what it means in the larger context. And we can start with Someday We'll All Be Free.
Yeah, Someday We'll All Be Free is one of my favorite Donny Hathaway songs of all time. I think his passion and his intensity, the way that he sang that, the way that he played that.
Hang on to the world as it spins around.
I really believe that he believed that we would see that, and I also believe that he wanted to do something to support his people and support Black people and say, hang on, you know, that we got to keep persevering. And it was just something that was needed at that time. Like, you know, he was coming out with that, Curtis Mayfield was coming out with what he came out with, Nina was coming out with what she was coming out with, Odetta, like the list goes on. And so I think it's one of the best like freedom fighter songs that I've ever heard in my entire life. Love it.
Let's talk about the other 2. Everything is Everything. I'm blown away by the lyrics. There's literally everything in it, right?
Yeah. And crazily, Everything is Everything is the album that Someday We'll All Be Free is on.
Everything is everything. What is meant to be will be. After winter must come spring. Change it comes eventually.
I think Everything is Everything is an homage in that way to Donny too, because Lauren was that kind of artist and she carried that same torch. You know what I mean? So it links that back, because there's certain things in Black culture and Black community regarding like chanting and regarding our spirituality and speaking, words casting spells, and these things that we talk about, we manifest. And so keeping that tradition to say everything is everything, because everything really is everything, you know, and what is meant to be will be. And I think she was taking what he was saying to the next level. But just that, how it touched me even as a young kid, I knew that she was saying things to me to evoke me and to invoke me and to continue to keep us like prayed up and strong. And she was taking what he left for us on into the next generation. Yeah.
Wow. Talk to us a little bit about Lauryn Hill and her artistry. And I mean, she's incredibly innovative, to say the very least, right? So any particular thoughts on her significance for the art form and genre styles? I mean, she made a lot of sort of innovative changes, right?
Absolutely. I think The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is her best album, and one of the top albums of the 90s, one of the top hip-hop albums, one of the top R&B albums, and one of the top conscious albums. She was a rapper and a singer and a musician, and that means a lot to me because I grew up being a rapper, singer, and musician. And Lauryn Hill and Missy Elliott, for me, were the end all be all when it came to that. I was like, okay, I can make my own beats like Missy Elliott, and this is awesome for women producers and women rappers, and we're not just coming into the game and we're this little box over here. Missy was making music for men, women, everybody. Lauryn Hill was making music that influenced so many people, and just how she even influenced the Fugees before she went solo. You just knew she was a star because she was way ahead of her time, like Marley, like Hathaway, like Aretha Franklin. Like there's certain types of people who can see things that are right in front of us that everybody else can't see, and then point them out, and that's Lauryn. And growing up, that's the kind of artist that I always wanted to be. I always wanted to be that person. To be able to just be who I am and just say that this is what I'm going to say and I want the smoke. You can bring it to me because it's okay.
Well, having listened to you on the recording session, I think you are that person. It's about Nina Simone. Mm-hmm. That's the third song on the list, right?
Yeah, Young, Gifted, and Black. Yeah, and Donnie covered it. Aretha covered it. I think Donnie's is the best.
To be young, gifted, and black.
He took it to a different level. He like mixed it into a church and love ballad at the same time. Like he had extreme love for his people, and he sang that song like he had extreme love for Young, Gifted, and Black. And in each three of these songs, there's three different energies. Aretha's a different energy, Nina's a different energy, and his is a different energy. And like Nina's more like, we're strong. You know, we are young, gifted, and black. You know what I'm saying? Whereas, and Aretha's had a little more Detroit on it. You know what I mean? So she took what her blackness was and her culture that she learned in Detroit and put that on top of that song, and it made it a whole different energy, because then it rocked like almost like a Kojic church style song, Church of God in Christ. Like there's a certain kind of style that people who sing in Kojic churches have, and Aretha put that on there, kind of like the Karen Clark Sheard and Twinkie Clark. Like she put that feel on it, but Donnie made it a love song. Because he slowed it down, you were able to hear everything that he says and how it's so intimate. You know, even saying things like, we must begin to tell our young. It was like instructional and very different. You could hear things, you could hear how he was moved and how he was even invoked in that song. Like he couldn't even hide that. You know, he couldn't even like just do the song straight, because he got into that and got lost into that too. And it was just a masterpiece. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. This is incredibly meaningful to us all to get your take on these.
Of course. It's my honor. Like I feel like right now we need this the most. And even if we can't be together, we can. This is what will bring us closer in this way, because we're rocking on a vibe. And like, no matter if you're seeing this online or if you're seeing this live, you are rocking to that vibe. Where we are is where everybody else will be when they listen to this. And it's just feel it, y'all. If anything, the people watching, just feel it and close your eyes and don't think about anything for the time being, and just really take it in. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you.
Chris, thank you so much for everything. Let me just express our deepest gratitude to you. You've been instrumental ever since we started discussing this project back in the spring. You have guided us, consulted, advised, arranged, created, rearranged, right? So, with other words, thank you for being an incredibly important in the planning process for this project. throughout, really. Let's talk about the last segment, the upcoming segment. A change is going to come. This was your pick.
It was my pick, yeah.
We discussed a couple of options. Tell us a little bit about the
we
thought
discussed
process.
a couple options, and I said no to them all. Yeah, you know, this is kind of, for lack of a better term right now, crazy times. You know, trying to stay kind of positive, and Sam Cooke's "A Change Is Gonna Come" like resonates now, back then, and it'll resonate tomorrow and every tomorrow to come. And I think the message of that change coming is probably needed now more than ever, kind of surrounding the, you know, what's happening now. And when you hear it, that original version is like, all right.
I was born by the river.
How do I, you know, make a version in which like we can all be together in this kind of thing. We have 4 completely different groups uniting to kind of create the same message, and like that's the whole idea of this entire you know, concert. So it's like a change is kind of comes like that. We got to go with Sam Cooke, man. Yeah.
I'm really glad you picked this one, and you arranged it masterfully. You talked about bridging the various genres that, you know, is a symbol, but it's also what MacPhail stands for. We have a very wide variety of artists in-house. There's a really interesting side story to the song, which Sam Cooke apparently got inspired by a Minnesota icon, Bob Dylan, and his iconic "Blowin' in the Wind."
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful song, completely different, but talk to us a little bit about that and that connection. So it's a little bit of a very local connection
so, yeah,
here.
I'm gonna test my history a little bit. So A Change Is Gonna Come came out in 1964, and I think 1963 was a really important year for Sam Cooke. One of the things that people don't really necessarily acknowledge is that Sam Cooke had a lot of things going on. And one of the kind of experiences that fostered, you know, the creation of this was him getting turned away from a hotel he booked in Louisiana, right? So he kind of like that added, and just like being black and all these things, not to take away from Bob Dylan, but there's all these things that contributed to A Change Is Gonna Come, right? And then where Bob Dylan comes in is like there's this white guy who writes a song about race. And Sam Cooke was struggling with this fear of how he'll be received if he puts a song out like A Change Is Gonna Come. Like, what does that sound like? Bob Dylan was like the tipping point, right? Like, if he can do this, I have to do this. So that's kind of where that kind of fits in. Yeah.
No, thank you for putting it into context with that motel incident that prompted it. But I thought, since it's a bit of a local connection, we might as well just lean in on it a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is the final part of our Spotlight concert. Please give us some parting words.
Oh wow, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, sorry.
All the way. Oh no, this is fun. This is fun. To me, and hopefully to the people that listen. I hope this serves as a healing experience, a way to kind of just breathe, because there's so much going on in the world, and just every now and again, just taking a step back and breathing. And this is what I think all these groups together, like that's what we're kind of inviting you to do. Come into our world, come into our homes, experience music, experience what we're experiencing through music and what we're trying to convey. Have a good time, feel something, breathe.